Good morning, UPBOptionMillionaires.com. It is a Thursday. It's February 12, 2015. Stock futures after the bell yesterday rallied as Greece was supposed to come to some sort of agreement with the European Union. Sure enough, they did not. Stock futures pulled back. We're actually in negative territory as another meeting has been scheduled for Monday, which will, of course, they'll come to some sort of resolution. But if you look for a reason why stock futures are higher this morning, Bank of England comes out. So if it's not one central bank, it's another. And of course, it's been a couple days since central bank has announced any kind of easing policy. And you look at this, BOE comes out and says, yeah, that's what we're going to do. And stock futures are higher, almost up to the highs that we saw. After the bell yesterday, the US dollar is pulling back. A nice sharp pullback, especially you just look a week and a half ago, was up at 10-year highs. It's been pulling back, getting a little bit of a bounce here. It's about 2 hours before the market's going to open for trade. The weaker dollar is also helping crude oil, which is up near highs of the session. You look yesterday, really sharp pullback. I was trading for that. On Monday, bought the puts on USO, the $19 puts. It was over $20 on this spike here. Pulled back. We hit $18 yesterday. So those puts I got 31 cents for the $19 strike. We're up over $1. I got out at, 78, 80 cents, something like that. So it's been a nice move for USO. And the bond market is pulling back as well. Look at the 30-year bond is down almost 8.8%. It's bouncing a little bit here. So bonds are selling off. What's that telling you? Higher interest rates. That's what the market's saying, and I think that's going to have an effect. And I'm going to get into that in a minute. Let's look at the USO, which I think if we see a continued bounce here, we're going to find resistance here at this level. The ultimate channel that we're in for the last 4.5 years that we've broken out of would be a move back over 29, which is a long ways away. So I'd look for a move possibly back up to this trend line here at about 22.50, and then a continued pullback. The bond market, again, TLT is pulling back. Look at this. A week and a half ago, we almost hit that 140 level I talked about at the start of the year. And at the start of the year, we're down under 130. We went up to almost hit 140. We're pulling back. Higher interest rates are going to hit some of the companies that are relying upon their dividend yield. Look at Boston Properties. We saw some unusual option volume. Now, if you look at this chart, this actually looks quite bullish to me. It was down almost 1.5% yesterday, dropped to 140 before recovering late in the session. You can see down to briefly dipped under 140, recovered. But you look at Boston Properties and SPG, some of the REITs, I like to call them REITs, real estate investment trusts. I'm looking for some weakness. There was some unusual option activity the last couple trading sessions. So looking for a pullback. I got some puts there, and might add to that. I'll let you know in the chat room or Twitter. We have earnings after the bell today. Shutterfly. Look at Shutterfly. There's a gap up. Let me just pull back from the longer term. And you can look at this wedge. If this breaks out, we could be looking at a move back up into the 50s for Shutterfly. Look real quick. Let's see what the expected move is on Shutterfly. The options, $3. So if you look at the chart here, that would be a move up to about 49, which would break us over this long-term trendline resistance, and looking for a move back into the 50s. Groupon reporting earnings after the bell today. We also have Kraft Food reporting earnings. Kraft is clearly in a breakout mode here, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it break over 68 to 70. And actually, if you look at the options, pretty cheap. Let's just look at Kraft real quick. Kraft expect to move $1.79. So if you look, that would get us back to 68. You can get the ding, 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 ding. Something I would look at here possibly is the 6750s. 40 by 50, which would we get a move up to about 68.50. Those would be a little more than a double. We have earnings reports also. Trulia reporting earnings. That's a stock that's in the 45s. Looks to be finding support here in the low 40s and kind of narrowing the range. So I think there's going to be a sharp move. Likely to the upside as it's found support here. You can draw a trend line across. Let's just do that real quick. You draw a trend line across right here. Found support at this level. So a move up to 50, certainly not out of the question. Let's see what they're expecting here. Trulia. The move is, ding, 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 about $3. So if we look here, 48, we can get the 49s. Let's see what the 49s are going for. 49 calls in February are going for, wow, the spread's pretty wide. The last trade was, let's just go back to, well, you can probably get them for about 70 cents. So that's what we look for. I'll put a bit in for 70 cents from looking to get into those. But you can see the support here, Chart looks kind of bullish. Let's look at some other names. Google has been gyrating. Baidu is down this morning, so I think that's going to weigh on Google a little bit, but it's been consolidating in this channel. Apple broke out to new all-time record highs. Go figure. Back in May of 2013, I was talking about Apple. Everybody saying, "Oh, the growth story is done. Apple is garbage." Look at the breakout ever since. Okay, not only is it breaking out to record highs, it's doing it in dramatic fashion. And Carl Icahn says it's a $1.3 trillion company, which would imply another 100% move from here. And if you look, I talked about this as well, that the third leg, we're in the third leg higher. And sure enough, it's coming to fruition here. We have the first leg, we have the second leg, the financial crisis, and now we're in the third leg. I mean, there's no denying it. I said it back in May 2013, the third leg was starting up. Sure enough, that's exactly what's going on here with Apple. It's been a nice trade, some awesome call buys in the chat room at optionmillionaires.com. Stop by, check it out. Best option trading room on the planet. Let's look at a couple other stocks here. Tesla, before the bell here, down to 180. We're at what, 194, 194.50. You see the pullback below 20. So if you look, trend line supports here about 170. Let's just pull up Tesla and I'll show you exactly where it is now. Before the bell, it's about 2 hours before the market's going to open for trades. It seems to have found a bottom here at 194. This is a dip that's going to be bought at some point, but for now, just let it go. Baidu as well. Look at Baidu down under 191.6 at the lows yesterday. It's off OTL. We like to say off the lows this morning. Still under 200 bucks. And if you look at Baidu, pull up a chart. This is a stock that was at 80 bucks. Nobody liked it. It broke out. And if you look, I'll just pull up a long-term chart. You can look at the stock twits. I was talking about this descending wedge. Broke out. Look at the move ever since. Support was here at about 210. It is now broken below it. The gap up here, level from the middle of 2014, is where it's finding support. Which, if we get a bounce back up to 210, 220, is going to be a beautiful head and shoulders pattern for Baidu. How about Whole Foods? Another stock I was talking about last summer when it was at support here at about $36 a share, has moved up. It's at 55. This 55 level, if you draw a trend line across, just go from the previous head and shoulder highs there, that's about the high that we saw previously in the middle of 2013 and the start of 2014. The ultimate left and right shoulder of a head and shoulders topping pattern that brought us down significantly, almost a 50% decline from record highs. So that is going to be very strong resistance here this morning. And if we get up to that level, I'll be looking for some puts. All right, UPB, that's it. I wanted to keep the video short. We have earnings again after the bell. Trulia, Shutterfly, Groupon, Kraft, to name a few. And we have some big moves this morning. Tesla, is it going to bounce off the lows? Be something I'd be looking for. USO, I also like, again, go to BXP and some of the REITs, the real estate investment trusts. I think as interest rates start to rise, it's going to put a crimp, especially on some of the stocks that offer high dividends, because when you get a better yield from treasuries, it's no sense to take the risk to buy stocks that give out, for instance, LNCO and LINE. How'd that work out for everybody who bought into those, expecting these big dividend payouts? So, all right, UPB, I'll be in the chat room. Everyone have a great trading session. Goodbye.